Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm sure you're very much anticipating and excited to hear what I've got to say. It's going to be pretty raw, this video, because there's no structure to it. I don't have any notes. I'm just going to speak from the heart, and I guess my opening line is simply, I can't believe I'm going to be saying this sort of stuff with a team that's 5-3. But 12 years, countless amounts of opportunities. When you sit at 5-3, you kind of sort of anticipate, and you can tell from what we've done in this block of form in the first third of the year. You can always see exactly how we're going and what people are feeling, and each year it sort of gets more edgy. And like last year in particular, we went on that 13-game winning streak, and you felt on top of the world. Last year was the most excited and happy I felt as a Port fan, during that streak in ages. But as I sit here now, I've been one of the more optimistic and excited and positive fans of Port Adelaide, from the time I've had the channel. Before that, I've always been critical on certain aspects of our game, but I've always been, sort of had a common sense of what we can do to improve next week, and just go 1 week at a time and focus on that. And then eventually, the heartbreak and the disappointment of season's end. But I think it gets to a point where you sit here and you just realise that enough's enough. I can't keep doing this, and it's the same old shit. To come in 5-3, and we look at the block that we've had, 5 wins that we've had. We've had a close win with the Freo, a good win against Essendon, West Coast, Richmond, St Kilda. They're 3 below average teams. The other 2 are fighting for top 8 spots. And we're probably in that, we're in that bracket where can compete. We are always competing and always a part of that conversation, but we're never really going to prove that point. And, big game comes along, Thursday night footy, an away showdown. What a better place to prove a point, to say, no, this flat track bully status that we've had for years and keeps coming up, that's not going to happen. We're pushing that aside. We're going to prove a point. So what do? We play our injured captain, who comes in, hasn't played. You can do all these tests and test the hamstring out, but at the end of the day, it's not 4 quarters testing, is it? But I'll get to that in a second. The 3 losses that we've had are, a showdown, on the big stage. We've had Collingwood at the G, another big stage, and Melbourne, a top 4 team, at home, another big stage. I can't keep sitting here and can't keep thinking that stuff is going to happen. We do the same formula over and over and over, and enough's enough, 5 goals, 18 is a despicable showing. Despicable. I don't care if they're pot shots or rush behinds. I think 3 or 4 of them were rushed late, but there's a good block of 10 shots at least in that 18 points that could have been goals. Easy goals too. A couple of them were reversed as well, thanks to, a wonderful goal by Boak, but, it was obviously hit the post. And that was the story of the night in itself, when, you've got all these opportunities and everything like that, and we just keep doing the same shit. To sit there as a fan and feel helpless, as in life, you shouldn't, as a person in general, sit there and feel helpless in any situation. That is the worst feeling in the world, to sit there and feel helpless. You can't fix anything. You can't help anyone. And that's what it's like being a Port Adelaide fan at the moment, because we sit there, we attend the games, And we feel helpless because we can't do anything, and nothing will change. Nothing will ever change. It's the same stuff over and over. We can praise all the players. Yay, we've got the three amigos. Horn Francis is going to be a star. We've done all this big trading, and Rosie and Butters are all there. They're vice captains. They're the future. The picture boys. They're the ones. They're going to lead us to the promised land. Let me tell you something. The promised land has nothing in it if we continue to do the same shit. Bombing it long inside 50, hoping for a 30-year-old Charlie Dixon to take a mark on 4 players. We keep playing Todd Marshall, we know he's out of form. We didn't bring in Finlayson, who's got that creative spark about him. But no, we put him in the sample. He has 25 touches, kicks 4 goals, and proves a point. And he'll no doubt be in next week. Georgiadis is still hit and miss, obviously coming back with a knee injury. What are we doing bombing it inside 50? We lowered our eyes at stages, but once we lowered our eyes and had set shots, we still missed them. It is pointless to sit here and be like, well, we can make these changes, this and that. If we can't have a finished product, there is no point in hell investing all this time into a system. It's the basic fundamental of a game is goal kicking. Get it goddamn right. It's not hard. It's all up here. And we don't have up here. We've never had up here. Never had up here. Big game moments. Look at the 2014 prelim. We kicked ourselves away from that one. 2017 elimination final. Kicked ourselves away from that one. Games this year where we've just kicked points for fun. It's just ridiculous. And we get to be made a mockery in the media. And we embarrass ourselves on the biggest stage in a showdown. It's primetime showdown, finally given the opportunity to be showcased to the world. And we sit there and put 5 goals, 18 on the board. What does that do, not only for a player's confidence, for fans' confidence, but for the brand of this football club? It shows we don't have up here, and we aren't good enough to be with the best. We can't even beat a side that's lower ranked. Why do I have to sit here as a fan and come into a game and feel so nervous and doom and gloom for a team that's 2-5? Because it's a showdown. Because we don't have up here. Why do I have to sit here and think instantly, as soon as I wake up, the little optimism that I have in me thinking that we may win is drowned out in the first 15 minutes because they go 3 goals to nothing. Every Port fan, I always go onto your social media and look at the Port fan comments. I always read your comments because I want to know what everyone else is thinking. I want to be a part of that conversation. And it's just the same. It's doom and gloom. We're not winning this. The writing was on the wall. The painting was already painted before it even announced the artist. And the artist is Port Adelaide. And it was shit. It's just... it's hard not to get emotional because I love this football club. And I can't believe I'm making this for a 5-3 team. But we are one of the worst 5-3 teams ever to be a part of this conversation. The writing is on the wall for Port Adelaide. And you look, the Crows, they're good. They're not great. They're not all that hype that they set out to be. They've got good players. They took advantage of our mistakes and they kick straight. We talk about stats. And I not really talk about the stats because for me, the game in itself is visible. You can see that. You don't have to look at the stats to see with Port Adelaide. You just know what's happening. Get it inside 50 as many times as possible, play that a pressure game. Our press is too high, but we won't fix that. And then we let teams get out the back. It's a notable thing. There's 2 glaring factors from our game plan this year. One is the goal kicking. It's as simple as that. 2 is the fact that our press is too high. We try and play that forward pressure game. And that's why we kick so many points is because we're just having shots and pot shots from contests and trying to get the ball in and around our forward half, and we're taking set shots from all kinds of positions. But the press is too high. And what happens out the back? The quick smalls, or they're one player out there for the opposition, and they end up getting it over the back, and we're left chasing our tail. I just don't understand why we constantly continue to do the same thing, and there's such a simple fix to it. But I'm sick of it. Absolutely sick of it. And I again, I hate being negative. I like to be that optimistic person that can see something that might not be there, but you know, and even now I'm sitting here going, you know what we're going to do? Everyone's going to hate on Port Adelaide. We're going to get all this shit come at us, and then next week we're going to rock up after an 8-day break and beat the Cats back against the wall because we'll kick 16 goals 5, and you know it'll be that. And I just know that will happen. And if it doesn't, well then so be it. The same tag is on us. But what my final thing I want to talk about is the Connor Rozee factor. Actually, just before that, Aliir was missed last night as well. So I do think that, Brandon Zerkthatcher as well was very, very good. I know Tex kicked a couple, but they were out the back goals. Brandon Zerkthatcher deserves a comment because he was very, very good. And I can talk about players that tried, but I'm not going to because there's no recognition for that. We don't get the result with people trying. But I wanted to mention him because I think he deserves the nod. But the comments made by Ken Hinkley after the game about Connor Rozee, you can sit there and say you're not a coward, Ken, for making a mistake, and that's more than fair enough. Everyone gets to own their mistakes; they get the opportunity to do that, and that's respectable. That's fine. But when you know in your heart and your head, I'm talking about the head factor, that he shouldn't be playing a game of football 6 days after a hamstring issue. It might not have been major, but it's a hamstring issue 6 days after a game of football. Make the call. But you were desperate. In a showdown, you wanted to win. And now you've lost 4 of the last 5 showdowns. Why? Why make the call? My final comment, Port fans and everyone watching, because I know a few people will be tuning in to see what I've got to say and want to grill me, but there's 16 rounds to go. There's so much football to be played. We've seen turnarounds before. We've seen changes before. But this is Port Adelaide. We all have been there. We've all seen this story. It's like your least favourite movie being put on by Channel 9 at 9:30 at night on a Sunday. It's there. It's on repeat. We feel like a sitcom. Constantly replayed. It's the same thing over and over and over. And I just can't physically now see a possible way out of this without the biggest change of them all. And it has to happen. If we turn this season around, then again, I'll give my respects. I would tip the hat. But at this current stage and at this current moment, even if we play finals, we're not going to be a factor. And we will never be that factor. We can never, as a team, as a fan of this team, as this club, feel like we have the utmost confidence in them because it plays with our emotions. And I don't like it. I don't like the fact that every single game, every single week, the first thought I have is, oh, what if we lose? Or what's the possibility? 3 weeks ago when we smashed Essendon, I sat here and like, oh, okay, look, the Melbourne game was an anomaly. We lost it because we just didn't take our opportunities. That's fine. All right, you know what? We'll make the most of it, and we're gonna take this on board. But ever since Collingwood, I just sit here and go, well, that's it. Yeah, I have no confidence in this team. But they've got an opportunity for 16 rounds now to earn it back. Whether they do that or not, we'll wait and see. And we'll have to go through it because that's what we do as fans. We go through the emotion. But by God, man. And if it's season's end, we're not sitting in that top 8 and we're not deep in that top 8. The change comes. The head coach goes and we make the change early. I'm not dealing with another year of this. Enough's enough. Thank you for watching, Port fans, and everyone else watching. I know at the end of this, it seems counterintuitive, but the opportunity to be on the ground with some Port fans was amazing. I did vlog, but due to the emotion and the rawity of it, I'm not going to post it. By the end of the game, there's not much great content. I'll put a little reel up maybe of the excitement and the opportunity we got to be a part of the Guard of Honour, which I'm very grateful and appreciative by the club for choosing me and giving me that opportunity. It was really, really nice and great to experience that. But yeah, that's the most excitement I had all night. The rest was pretty down. So thank you for watching this review. Let me know your comments below about the game and your thoughts on the club and everything going on. Full credit to the Crows and full credit as well to Rory Sloane. A massive achievement, obviously retiring. It's a shame that he didn't get to finish out his career with another game, but in saying that, I'm very glad he got to go out on his terms and he's got a future. So congratulations to Rory, and yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. My name's Anthony, and as always, can't pair.